Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to replace the battery as well as replace the hard drive or upgrade it to an SSD on this HP laptop model 15-CC112CL. Alright, so the battery you're going to need is this model TF03XL, and then any 2.5-inch SATA hard drive or SSD will work. If you're wondering why my hands are like this, I ride an electric unicycle. I was going too fast, hit a dip, the wheel shut, dropped me, and yeah. So yeah, or you can consider this my Halloween edition series. Alright, anyways, we're going to remove the screws from the bottom. So first thing we're going to do is take out these rubber feet because they're hiding some screws. As you can see, this one was already missing. But anyways, I just used my fingernails to get underneath here and peel up the rubber feet. Alright, just like this. You can use whatever works, plastic pry tools or whatever. Alright, let's go ahead and remove this one as well. Alright, and set that aside. Okay, so we're going to be using a PH1 or JS1 screwdriver to remove the screws here. You want to keep all the screws in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths, and if you mix them up, you can damage the computer. The way I do that is I put the flat side down like that. In the pattern, I remove them, so you see two here, and then you see these silver ones here, these two here, and then there's two here. Alright, so whatever helps you remember where they came from, but it's always a good idea to make sure you put the same screws back where you got them. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue removing these screws. There we go. Alright, let's go ahead and remove this. Oh, there's one up here holding the CD drive in place. So if you want to just remove the CD drive, all you have to do is remove this one screw. Okay, after you remove that screw, you can actually go here, I use my fingernail, and then kind of go up and down as I'm kind of pulling on it. And here you can see it comes out just like that. Alright, so there's no screws underneath here. Let's go ahead and remove this screw over here. There we go. Again, you want to keep them all in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. So let's go ahead and get this one out now. Alright, these ones are actually shorter underneath. The ones in the center are longer. Alright, and then don't forget the two on the front here. They come out at an angle so they don't go straight down. Alright, so let's go ahead and get those two screws out. Alright, next thing we're gonna do is get this plastic cover off. Sometimes the clips are a little tricky, so let's see how we can remove this. Alright, let's go ahead and slide this here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try using the CD drive area. So I'm going to pull on this and I'm going to get my fingernail in here and pull it up as I do that. But that's not really working too well. So let's try and pull over here. Nope. Alright, so let's go ahead and use a suction cup because that will probably make it easier. So I'm going to use a suction cup here and see if we can pull up. And, alright, that's being tough as well. Let's go ahead and go to this side. Sometimes when you use a suction cup to pull it up, it flexes the cover in a way that it kind of pulls the clips away from the edge, so it kind of helps. So hopefully that's going to work, but it looks like it's being a pain here. Alright, let's see. Why is it being so difficult? Let's try and pry up here, and I'm going to try and push on this cover. Let's see, where's the... Okay. Wow, no, that's going to be very difficult. Okay, let's see here. What about this side? Let me get up this side. No, doesn't want to come out. Alright, so this cover is being a real pain. Let's see, let's go ahead and get this out. So I'm going to push this plastic piece in towards the body and then lift it up. There you go. So here you go. We can lift those out. And then hopefully now we can kind of get started over here. Okay, it's still kind of tough. Let's go ahead and use the suction cup. And there we go. Suction cup helped a little bit. Okay, it's still quite a bit difficult, but it did get up one of the clips here. Alright, let's try and work our way over here as well. Wow, that's really tough to get out. So, let's see. Again, it helps to kind of flex the cover, so I'm kind of trying to flex it. And then that way the clips will unleash. Alright, so let's go ahead and try and do that. Wow, this is really tough. Okay, so let's see how we're gonna get this out. I might have to actually use a thin metal tool to do this. So let's try and do that. We're gonna get this tool in here. Okay, and then, okay, yeah, that works really easily. So we're gonna get under there, just like this. And when you get there to the clips, you kind of just pop it up just like that. And there we go. And now that we've gotten all of that, this thing just kind of popped up on its own. And we're gonna go over to this side and same thing, get the tool in there and then kind of just pop it up. Okay. All right, why is that not coming up? Come on. Huh, this side is really stuck here. All right, let's rotate this and see if we can work our way over here. Okay, I don't know why that side doesn't want to come up. Let's go ahead and try and work on the back here. Can we even get under there? Yep. All right. There we go. So we got that clip up. Now we're going to work our way over here. You might have to kind of pull it back slightly to form a gap to get the tool in. And there we go. It's coming out. There we go. Nice and easy now with this tool. And there we go. All right, so now that we got all of that up, we can kind of lift this, kind of wiggle it around because it's stuck down here in this corner for some reason. I don't know why. There we go. I had to kind of shove it over that way. And here we got the bottom cover out. All right, so now we're going to replace the battery here and then the SSD or the hard drive. So this is a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive. We're going to put an SSD in there. So let's actually take the hard drive out because the battery is underneath this cable. Let's zoom in. Okay, and then to remove the cable here, we're going to flip up this latch, right? Once you flip that latch up, you can actually pull this cable back. You might want to you want to be careful with it that you don't damage it. If you can get underneath this blue tab, you can use that, grab it, and then kind of wiggle it and pull it back. So there we go. Then we're going to remove this. So here you can see, all right. So these 2 feet, oops, let's zoom out a bit. So the 2 feet over here are tucked underneath, so we have to lift up from this side first. So I'm going to use the 2 rubber feet that stick out to lift it up, just like that. And then now we can slide this back. So these metal brackets, or these rubber coated metal brackets, they don't have any screws holding them in, but we're going to remove this after we put the battery. All right, so let's go ahead and do the battery. If you're wondering, there's the RAM here. So if you know how to remove RAM, you basically just pull these 2 tabs to the side, it pops up, and you see this is PC4 2400T. So you can put any PC4 2400T RAM. If you want, you can put 2 16 gig sticks, though for most people 8 gigs is plenty, and adding more won't really make a difference. So you have 2 4 gig sticks here currently. All right, let me actually show a little more, but let's go ahead and remove the battery first just to be safe. Okay. So let's go ahead and get the screws out. So move this up here. All right, so we got 2 screws up here next to the connector. So we're going to remove those 2. All right, just like that. And then we got 2 screws down here at the far corners. All right, again, battery model number is TF03XL, and there's also an HP spare part number if you want to use that, 920070-855. All right, let's continue removing all the screws. Okay, now that we got all the screws out, we're going to go from here and then lift the plastic up to disconnect the battery, and then you can lift the whole battery out just like this. All right, now we're going to get the replacement battery and put this in. If you want to see, there's the keyboard backlight cable here, keyboard cable here, you got the trackpad connector here. It looks like there's also an M.2 SSD slot here, but I don't know if this supports PCIe NVMe or just M.2 SATA. Likely it will support PCIe NVMe because if they have a regular SATA slot, oops, let me turn off my notifications real quick, I'll be back. Sorry about that. Anyway, so what I was saying is normally they wouldn't put 2 SATA slots like a regular SATA and then the M.2 SATA. So this is very likely a M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD slot, but you will need a screw to hold that into place. All right, so let's see what else we got. There's the LCD Lvds connector. If you mess with this or the cable for the screen itself, you want to be very careful. Oops. You want to open up the screen and then press and hold the power button after removing the battery for 15 seconds. If you don't and you move this, there's a good chance you can damage the circuitry and your screen's not going to work. Got a battery or speaker connector here. All right. See what else we got. I'm running out of desk space because all the screws are everywhere. You got the DC jack or charge port connector that runs along here. To remove that, you do have to take the hinge out or the screws out and then kind of open up the hinge. But I'm not going to mess with that because the customer just needs me to replace the hard drive and the battery. Then you got the wireless card here and the fan connector here. Fan's held in with some screws. And yeah, keyboard is held in with these plastic melted pieces here, so if you need to replace the keyboard, better to replace the whole palm rest assembly than to replace the keyboard itself. It's going to be very difficult. All right, anyways, let's go ahead and put the battery back in. If you're not sure how to remove all the other connectors and you kind of wanted to know how, just watch a few of my other videos. Usually the connectors are pretty much the same, so you should be able to figure it out from watching some of my other videos. All right, so get the battery lined up. And then we'll just push that into place. I can't really see what I'm doing, so I might have to actually move this out of view of camera. Let me make sure that the battery connector is all lined up. Okay, looks like it's lined up properly. And then let's push that down. There we go. Now that's connected. Let's go ahead and put the battery screws back in. All right, get that screw there. This screw here. All right, and then we'll get the two screws down here as well. Just like this. And like this. All right, so now we're going to remove the bracket for the SSD or the hard drive and transfer it over to the new one. So let's just take these here. So the hard drive connects like this. All right, so I'm gonna take this metal plate off, set it aside, and then this one as well. And you wanna make sure that they match up with the other. Now we're gonna remove this connector here. I just get my fingernail here in this gap, and then I kind of pry it back like this. All right, it helps to actually do it from this side. So here you can see it pops out just like that. Same thing with the other side. All right, there we go. And then once you get the connector started, you can go ahead and pull it out. You want to be careful not to damage this cable. All right, so there we go. We got that connector disconnected. And now we're going to attach the connector onto the hard drive or the SSD. All right, I actually cloned the hard drive to the SSD beforehand. If you want to see how to do that, I have a video showing that. Just write a comment in the comment sections below, and I will send you that link. All right, so let's go ahead and get this rubber thing onto the SSD. All right, and then just like before, we're gonna tuck the little feet in first. All right, so slide it over. Once you get that tucked in, then you slowly lower this down and push that into place. There we go. Now we're gonna get the hard drive connector back in. Just like that, get it lined up. All right, push that into place. Make sure that the little blue wings go past the raised white parts there, and then slide the latch down. All right, and that's pretty much it. If you want, you can actually power it on right now to test it, but let's go ahead and put the cover back on first, just so that the hinges here have a little bit more strength. Sometimes if you try and open it without those, these little screw mounts will break, and then you're gonna have problems in the future with the hinges. So let's actually go ahead and snap all this back in just to be safe. If anything, now I know how to take it out a little bit easier, so don't have to worry as much. All right, make sure to snap everything back in. Snap in these as well. All right, just like that. Okay, go all the way around. Make sure everything looks nice and flush. All right, don't forget the CD drive, optical drive. I'll slide that in. And then let's go ahead and put back all the screws. So we can actually put back just the hinge screws first to test it. The battery actually also acts as a BIOS or CMOS RTC real-time clock battery, whatever you want to call it. So after you disconnect the battery, just keep in mind that the BIOS is going to be reset. So it's going to take a while for it to boot up. All right, so let's go ahead and get all these screws in. So now that we got the hinge screws in, we're going to open it up and see if it boots up properly. If you put all the screws back in, then you're kind of going to have to worry about it later if there's any issues. So it's best to kind of test it right now. All right, so powering it on now. As you can see, the screen is staying black. It's going to take a while to start up. All right, give it a bit. Oh, I have another customer that just messaged me, so give me a second. I'm going to mute that. All right, hopefully the recording's still going. So the computer restarted itself. I actually heard the CD drive kind of, there you go. And now you can see CMOS was reset. Press enter to reboot the system. So press enter, and if you did everything right, it should boot up. If you put a blank SSD in there, you're not gonna get your computer to boot because the operating system is on the hard drive. So putting a blank one there is kind of like putting a brain with no memories or anything on it, and it's not gonna do anything. So you can see it's booting up, and we should be good to go. So I'll let that boot all the way. All right, here you go. And as you can see, it booted. Usually after doing a big hardware change like that, I like to go in here and then do a restart. So I'm gonna actually restart the computer one time. But other than that, we're good to go. Let's go ahead and put back the rest of the screws. And your computer should be much better now. SSDs actually make a huge difference. I highly recommend upgrading all your computers that have spinning drives as the main boot drive to SSDs. They're a great price right now, and I mean they're only going to get cheaper, but right now they're pretty cheap as is, so it's a good idea to do that upgrade for that extra performance boost. All right, hopefully this video helped you guys. Again, if it did, make sure to like, subscribe, and share my channel with others. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Welcome to stay while I put back the rest of the screws. But other than that, we're good to go. All right, let's get the last two in. Don't forget the rubber feet as well. I like to look at the adhesive on the rubber feet and try and get it back the same way that it was pulled out. So, oops. Sorry, I'm getting too many distractions right now. Let me finish getting these screws in. All right, there we go. And then let's get the rubber feet in. So just like that, you want to check, make sure that you get them back the same way. Line it up and push it in. All right, same thing with the other feet. Line it up and push it in. Last one. All right, then line it up and push that in. All right, that's all there is. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.